Hello folks, this is another Cyber Teacher production, and today we're going to be looking at a top tip for teachers in terms of getting students to remember stuff, which is called the recap clock. So folks, this is an activity that I use a huge amount, and it's only going to take you about 10 minutes to do. You can do it at the start of the lessons, and the whole idea is that it gets kids remembering what they previously learned. And as we all know, it's crucial to get students to recap, so it embeds what they've learned in their memory, and then they can move forward taking on additional stuff that they're about to learn. So how does it work? Well, this is basically the end product. This is what we're going to look at achieving, and it's so simple, but as I've said, it's really effective. And I use it across the key stages, all the way from year 7 right the way through to 6th form. And the kids now that I teach pretty much got into the habit that they're going to be doing this, not necessarily every lesson, every other lesson, but when I feel that they need to demonstrate that they've embedded the knowledge that they previously learned. So how does it work exactly? Well, it works like this. So you start off by giving the students literally a circle on a piece of paper, and then you get them to write the topic that they're currently studying. So in this instance, I'm using the example of Nazi Party organization. Then what do? Well, we set the challenge to the students. We call it the recap clock because they're going to go clockwise around this topic in terms of trying to remember stuff. So they can't have any text, they can't have any other sources of information. And the key is that they then start to jot down what they can remember about what they've just studied. So I always say to them, start with 4. Okay, so start at your 12 o'clock. Is there something that you can think of? It can be a date, it could be a fact, it could be a person's name, anything that they can think of links to the topic that they've looked at. So in this case, they might write something like it was part of the Nazi Party organization was made of the SA. They then carry on around the clock, targeting initially 4 points. And I say that's the baseline of the challenge of the recap, 4 points. Once they've established their 4, you can go around the class and then ask them what are the points that they've got as an additional way in terms of engaging with what they put down. The next phase then is to add another 4 points. So like in this instance, Hitler was the voice of the party, the SS were Hitler's protection squad, wealthy businessmen helped the Nazi Party, and Heinrich Himmler ran the SS. So they've upped the ante now in terms of writing more points, again, not having textbooks open or anything along those lines, and then you can get them to compare what they've done. The final stage then is to go for the big one, is to go for your 12 or your 16 points. Now, I'll just demo on this diagram what we mean by that. So this is where they start adding additional information. You can prompt them to be much more specific. You can say, okay, this time I want it as a reflective sentence on something you've learned. This time, make it conceptual. I want a cause or a consequence of what we've been looking at. So you pretty much get the picture. It's a really simple activity to do at the start of lessons. As I said, it takes between 5 or 10 minutes, but it enables us as teachers to reflect on what they've learned. I suppose you could argue it's a bit of summative assessment, but kids seem to really enjoy it, and equally they get really competitive with it. Okay, folks, if you've enjoyed this Top Tips for Teachers video and found it useful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll keep the Cyber Teacher content coming.